Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, my name's Cece, I'm 18, I have Tourette's syndrome, and today I'm just going to be doing a Q&A because I've hit 600,000 followers and that's what you guys wanted me to do. So I asked on my Instagram story if you guys had any questions for me. Some of them are quite Tourette's specific and some of them are more general, so I'm just going to go through all of them and answer. Starting from the very beginning is, when did you develop coprolalia? You know, I'm not actually sure about this because I don't actually remember my first vocal tic that was a word. I remember all the vocal tics that were like just sounds, but I don't actually remember ever having a first. I mean, my memory is pretty bad, so yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might have been around year 10. Oh, how old are we in year 10? 14, 15? Second one is, how old were you when you started ticking? So I was actually 5. I didn't know that then because I didn't know what tics were. I just kind of assumed that everyone made these movements that they couldn't control, but I didn't have any vocal ones, so they weren't too noticeable. It was just like curling my toes, and then when I turned 9, my parents started noticing them because I had one in the top of my right leg, which it actually caused me a lot of distress as a kid, like because I couldn't control it, and also it quite often came with that feeling all the way up your back that you get when you have a tic attack. And although I only had a few tics, I still got that feeling for some reason. Do you have any side conditions to your Tourette's? If this means like comorbid conditions, then I would say yes, in that anxiety and depression are a comorbidity. I think it's quite hard to tell what's comorbid and what's like its own thing, but I do have other conditions that have nothing to do with Tourette's as well as that. So the next one is, was it scary when I lost my vision? To be honest, at first it was just frustrating because my brain copes with things by sort of disconnecting myself from them. So there's a lot of things that basically my brain will I'll convince myself that I'm faking it, and that sort of distances me from the actual problem, so it doesn't hit me as hard. So at first I had very much convinced myself that, oh, I'm faking it, it's fine, like I'll get over it, it's just me being dramatic kind of thing. But actually, as it got worse, I started like noticing, oh, I can't see the sign on the bus anymore, I can't tell if I'm getting on the right bus. So I'd missed the bus a few times because I couldn't tell if I was getting on the right one, and I was too scared to ask. And just lots of things like not being able to see cars when I was crossing the road, that was quite scary. But I wouldn't say I was really scared about the actual sight loss at first, because as I say, I'm quite disconnected from it, which sounds weird, but is your vision getting better? I might cut this one out because I haven't actually told any of my friends this either yet. But no, I went to the ophthalmologist a few weeks ago and they actually said that it's getting worse. It was sort of stable before that and now it's getting worse. But they found some sort of build-up of fluid on the back of my retina. They can't work out why. They've presented my case to like a international board of ophthalmologists, and they've just agreed to try and get me off the steroids as soon as possible, basically. Favourite and least favourite thing about college? Okay, favourite thing is definitely my friends, and we've got like a sense of community, kind of. It sounds cringy, but fuck right off. Fuck right off. Fuck right off. But our tutors are really nice about my Tourette's, and it's sort of, it feels like quite a safe space to be in. Least favourite thing, to be honest, I know it's sort of cliche, but the workload. I mean, I used to really enjoy it, but since I have been losing my sight and I'm doing a photography course, it's kind of like you go in every day and it's just a reminder that you've lost your vision. I don't feel as capable as my classmates of doing the same kinds of things anymore. I need help, like, even just doing the written work because it's all on the computer and I can't see it. So that's very frustrating, but I think, and it makes it quite hard to, like, get up in the morning and get out because we have to get there so early. Well, not so early, but I have to get up at like 6 to get the bus because it takes an hour to get the bus. It makes it quite hard to have the motivation to get up and actually do the work because it's something that I used to be really passionate about, but I can't really do anymore. How did you deal with your Tourette's diagnosis? So when I got my diagnosis, I remember I came home and I absolutely cried my eyes out because I remember it made me realise that it wasn't going away. Like I said earlier, my brain sort of disconnects me from things, so even when I just had, I just thought it was a tic disorder, my brain was very much convincing me that it wasn't real. But then getting diagnosed with it reinforced the fact that there's no cure for Tourette's. So I remember I was really upset about it, which is why it's kind of weird to me when people get excited about getting their Tourette's diagnosis, because I do understand that for me it was a sort of sense of relief, like, oh, I know what's going on now. But at the same time, people get like really excited about it, and I know people react in different ways to different things, but it does feel like a lot of people want it, which sounds bad, and I'm probably going to piss a few people off, but oh well, you can't please everybody. This one says, what would happen if you tried suppressing them for hours theoretically? The only time I've ever had to suppress my tics completely for a long time was when I was having an MRI scan. That was honestly the most uncomfortable thing ever. I don't even like thinking about it because it just hey, it stresses me out. So for me, suppressing tics is kind of like a filter. Suppress as much as I can, but little tics still sort of come out. But with the MRI, obviously I had to be as still as I possibly could. So I had to suppress completely, which was trying to stop all of the tics continuously. It ends in tic attacks. It's so uncomfortable. It's quite painful. So theoretically, if I had to suppress my tics for hours and hours, I'd have a really bad tic attack, and it would just not be very fun at all. This one says, how did you tell your family you weren't going to suppress your tics anymore? So basically we were at my grandma's house because it was my birthday party, and we invited a load of my family over to my grandma's house, and at this point I'd been suppressing my tics around my family in sort of fear of being bullied for it. But I decided that I was just going to stop because it was so uncomfortable and I'd been doing it for so long. TikTok kind of inspired me to try it because I figured, well, if I've got so many people here supporting me, then surely my family should too. So basically I messaged my dad. They were in the bedroom next to me. I messaged my dad and got him to read it out to my mum and basically said, I'm not going to suppress anymore. Please don't react badly to them. Please don't get annoyed at me for them. You can laugh if you want, but this is too uncomfortable for me to do now. And then I also wrote a note to my grandma and left it on the kitchen counter, and I was absolutely shitting myself. But it's honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made. It obviously took a while to get used to it, but now I can tick freely in front of my family and not have to worry about it, because I explained to them what I wanted and what I didn't want them to do. I feel like a lot of families, it's just a matter of they don't really know how to react. They don't know really what to do. So if you give them a specific like list of things you do and don't want them to do, it's a lot easier to come to terms with it. Have you found other senses have improved since your sight is reduced? Yes. So you hear this thing about your other senses get heightened when you lose one sense. And I guess it has been true, but I've learned that it's not that they get like better. It's just that you learn to use it more. You're not relying on... So for me, I'm not relying on sight anymore, so I have to rely on sound. I notice a lot more things than I did before. It was like me and my friends Jess and Lauren, we were in Primark the other day, and Jess is in a wheelchair, and me and Lauren were looking at a top. Lauren couldn't work out where Jess had gone, and I said, "Oh, that's alright, I can hear her." And then we went and found her because I could hear her wheelchair on the ground, and it was like, Lauren was like, "How the hell did you hear that?" And I was like, "I don't really know." You notice all sorts of things, especially with my cane. I notice how the ground sounds. Like, I can tell if I'm about to stand in a puddle because I can hear it with my cane, and it's same with like tactile markings, and I can tell when I'm under like a bus shelter or something because it echoes, it sounds different. There's all sorts of things that you wouldn't really think about until you've lost one of your senses. Bacon. What is your preferred cracker? Mine is saltine. I kind of like the Ritz crackers. You know, I don't know if they're the same as the saltine ones. I think that might be like an American thing. Yeah, I think Ritz. Do you know yet why you've gone blind a bit? No, we still don't know. I might do a proper update video about that. I wasn't really sure, because I feel like the more I share, the more my brain convinces me that everybody's pitying me. And pity is one of the things that I just cannot deal with. And I know it's a me problem because people are just trying to be nice, but it's kind of dehumanizing when you've dealt with it your whole life. I don't want to be pitied. I want to be treated like a normal 18-year-old, if you know what I mean. What was your first tic? My first tic, I think I mentioned this at the start of the video, but I used to curl up my toes. So I just scrunched them up, and I always say that it made it really hard to wear shoes, and I've never really liked shoes. I still have that tic now, and it made it quite hard to go shoe shopping and things, because even if a shoe fitted, if I couldn't scrunch up my toes, because that would mean I wasn't fulfilling the urge to tic, I'd just tell my mum that they didn't fit me. So I grew up thinking that I had weird shaped feet when actually I didn't. Tips for people who have friends or family with tics. I'd just say ask them, to be perfectly honest, because it's such an individual thing and everyone's cases are so different. It's like some people will be okay with you laughing, some people won't. Some people will want people there when they have tic attacks and things, some people won't. It really depends on the person. When did you start to think you had Tourette's? I'm actually not sure when it kind of clicked that it was Tourette's syndrome. I do remember sort of bringing it up to my mum in Tesco once, and she was like, "Oh no, there's no way you've got Tourette's." But that was while I was suppressing my tics, so it would have been hard for her to have known how much it was actually affecting me. I think I might have realised in sort of like year 11, or maybe when I was about 15, 16, because I had watched a documentary about it on YouTube, I think, and and it was these two brothers who had Tourette's, and it just kind of made me realise what the actual diagnostic criteria were. So you have to have at least 1 motor tic and 2 vocal tics for at least a year to have Tourette's syndrome, and I had. So the next time I went to the doctor, I brought it up, but because I was still suppressing my tics, I suppressed my tics during the interview, so I was during the appointment, so I was then diagnosed with motor tic disorder, because obviously I couldn't, when I suppress, like I was saying, some of them still slip through, so I was still having some of the motor tics, but not the vocal tics, which is what they needed to have seen to have diagnosed me earlier. What's my favourite colour? My favourite colour is actually like lilac, like light purple. I really like pastel colours. What's the strangest tic I've ever had? People, when they ask like the strangest tic I've ever had, they normally mean like vocal tics, but actually one of my motor tics is the strangest one. So basically, I don't know if you can see this because I can't see the screen, but my shoulder blade like pops out. If you don't like bones, then look away, but hey! Yeah, it's really weird. It can be quite painful. It sort of like grinds. But yeah, that's definitely my weirdest tic. Who's your best Tourette's friend? I can't say that honestly, because so many people are so amazing. And I mean, it's because I struggle with anxiety, it's kind of hard to tell if people genuinely want to be friends, especially people with like a lot more following. I do often feel like quite a burden to a lot of the other people, especially if we've got like an age gap. I want to be asking things like, oh, do you want to go live? Do you want to do a collab? That kind of thing. But because my following is quite a lot less, it might look like I'm just trying to like use them, and I don't want that at all. And B, I've always managed to convince myself that people don't actually like me and that they don't actually want to be friends. So that I need to work on. But our group, we have lots of group chats. Penis, hey. I love everybody equally, honestly. So I don't want to say, and then they watch this and they're thinking like, oh, maybe not. Okay, this one's an interesting one. I'm not sure if I can answer it. On average, how many tics do you think happen a day? Just an overview, I guess. I genuinely couldn't tell you, because it's like, it's like a few every few seconds. Sometimes they obviously do go away if I'm distracted, but and I know people say, oh, you don't tic 24/7, which is true, but for me personally, I kind of do. I think the only times I think the only times I'm not ticking are when I'm asleep and when I'm distracted. There aren't really any like dull periods for me. But like I said, everybody's cases are different, so that doesn't invalidate my case or anybody else's. What's your favourite school subject? So in high school it was music, but I only do one subject now, which is photography. So yeah, I don't have anything to pick out of. Can you ride a bike because of your tics? So I did used to do a lot of cycling with my dad. I think one of the last times that I went out cycling before it got too cold, me and my dad were messing around and we were going really, really fast, racing each other down a hill, and my leg ticked and obviously fell off the pedal and got caught on a grass ledge, flung me off the bike into a ditch full of stinging nettles. So my tics do make it hard to cycle, but I can't cycle anymore because of my vision. That sort of explains itself. My piano teacher's actually, him and his wife have a tandem bike, and they're gonna teach us, and I'm so excited. So I just have to wait until my dad has a day off work, and then I get to go and learn how to ride a tandem, which is gonna be so cool. Would you rather fight 10 duck-sized bears or 1 bear-sized duck? I think 1 bear-sized duck, because I feel like even if they're duck-sized bears, cats can do quite a lot of damage, and they're sort of like just bigger than ducks. And a duck-sized bear would still have claws, whereas a bear-sized duck would not have claws. It might get a bit bitey, but yeah, I think I'd rather a bear-sized duck. Can motor tics be anxiety, not Tourette's? Yes. I feel like most anxiety tics are probably like little simple simple motor and vocal tics. I don't know too much about anxiety, but I don't feel like you're as likely to have the complex ones. So yes, motor tics can definitely be anxiety rather than Tourette's syndrome. Do you find Remembrance Day, etc. hard because you don't know what your tics are going to say? Yes. Yesterday was Remembrance Day, and we had the 2-minute silence. Went with my friends to the Morrison's garage over the road from my college to get a drink, and we had to do the 2-minute silence in there. So obviously I had to suppress for those 2 minutes, and anyone who knows anything about Tourette's will know that when you're thinking about it, your tics get worse. So when you're worrying about what you're going to tic, they're going to get worse. So it was really uncomfortable, and I'm kind of not looking forward to hey the Remembrance parade that we do with Go Guiding on Sunday. But it is what it is. We just have to be careful, and people should be more open and realise that it's not us being disrespectful, we just genuinely can't help it. What kinds of things calm your tics down, and what kinds of things make you happy? Music calms my tics down. Playing piano is definitely a massive one. Working with children actually does. There is a certain amount of suppressing, but especially when I'm helping with my brownies and rainbows, because they're so like funny and they just keep you distracted constantly. That calms my tics down a lot. That includes like holding babies and things. And also animals do calm my tics down. Not certain animals, because I don't really like germs, so animals like dogs don't really, but I love holding my bunnies. They really calm me down. Penis pasta. Put it in a box. How do you work around your sight issues when doing photography? I'd love to learn. Basically, I don't. I mean, I do, obviously. I'll grab my mirror to show you. I don't know if you can actually see, but my camera has a massive screen. So that makes it slightly easy because I can't see through the viewfinder at all. But it's basically a case of I'm just trying to get to the end of my course so I can get the qualification at this point. I don't really enjoy it anymore. I don't think it'd be something I could do as a career anymore, which is quite worrying because that is what I had decided to do as my career, and I didn't have a backup plan. Like, I don't have a backup plan, so I was going to go to university to study photography, but I need to work out what on earth to do now. I've been to the careers advisor, but it's kind of hard when something changes so suddenly, when you've had your heart set on something for so long, because I've literally always wanted to be a wedding photographer. Oh, Liv's just put I love you. I love you too, Liv. Go and follow liv.elliot on Instagram. Have you ever gotten hurt while ticking? Yes, loads of times. I mean, I've already talked about the time on the bike, but there's been times where I've like sat down on like sharp objects, and obviously there's all the hitting tics. Yeah, when you have Tourette's syndrome, you do get hurt a lot. It kind of comes with the condition. Okay, do you know where Tourettes Camp is? Because I want to go so bad, but I can't find any in the UK. So I'm pretty sure they only do like 2 or 3 a year. The one I went to was over 18s only. I feel really bad because it does sound like I'm like gatekeeping it, but at the same time, the more people that know about it, I feel like the more stressful it is to go. I was very much expecting, because this was my first one, I was expecting maybe like 10, 15 people, and I think there were over 80 of us in the end, because so many people had found out about it. So I feel like it would have been a much calmer experience if there weren't as many of us. But I don't want it to sound like I'm gatekeeping. I just mean like maybe there should be like more events so they can spread people out over like a few different weekends rather than have everyone all at once. And that is all of the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for asking. Make sure to go and follow me on my Instagram, because I might do a few more of these sometime, just so I can talk to you guys and hear what you want to ask me. Because obviously I can't answer everybody's comments on TikTok or anything like that. So it's nice to be able to answer some more questions in more detail, because TikTok quite often hides my videos that are just me talking, because they're not as interesting, I guess, as the funny videos. So thank you all for watching. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for 600k. Next up is 1 million. I'm hoping that I could get verified soon, because I've heard from friends that sort of gets rid of all the like fake claiming and stuff like that. Like Glenn even sent in his Tourette's diagnosis to help him get verified. I don't think he'll mind me mentioning that, but yeah, hopefully that happens sometime soon. But yeah, I love you all guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.